There's a light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Learn, getting more out of life. Learn, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Yes, hello, welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy, and it is great to be back on the couch with my three favourite wellness warriors. That is not Wallies. That would be Warriors.
Calling Wally.
Joe Stanley, Rachael Finch, and Luke Hines. Hello, guys.
Welcome back, legend.
It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Daz.
Thanks for keeping the seat warm while I was in Bali, having a little bit of a mid-year break.
How was Bali?
It was beautiful. Had a great time with the family, got some sun. It was fantastic.
Lots of meditating.
Well, I was up at our place, Sukhavati, with the kids, so a bit of surfing.
Yeah, I like that.
And I took the opportunity, Joe. Don't worry about that. It was beautiful. Can't wait to get you guys up there at some stage. So.
Yeah.
You keep saying it, but it is yet to happen. Just saying.
And Rach, you've been in Hamilton Island.
Yeah, same as Darcy. Just got some sun, sand. The beautiful thing is, I think with any trip, the hardest part is always that first initial travel period, especially with little kids. So this is from Sydney to Hamilton Island, 2 hours. You're on the tarmac, you're in a buggy, and your holiday begins. Like, it was just
We need to go away, Joe. This isn't fair. Look at all this happening
You
around
and me,
us.
babe.
Let's go.
on a road trip.
Where are we
Let's
off
do
to?
it.
Well,
Anywhere. I don't care.
Our holidays might be over, Rach, but today we'll be getting back to nature and focusing on the wellness of the planet, Hinesy.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. This week I gave the art of bonsai a little bit of a go. Now, these miniature trees are beautiful and are good for the mind and soul as well.
Now, staying with our nature theme, Joe, today we're also looking at Plastic Free July. It's a fantastic worldwide movement that's seen around 120 million people from 177 countries refusing single-use plastic for a month, and hopefully well beyond that too.
Oh, absolutely, Jas. We know how harmful plastic can be, especially to our beautiful oceans and beaches. Our pristine sand and marine life is really under assault from a mountain of litter, and one of the most toxic offenders is cigarette butts. Josie Jones has always had an affinity for the ocean, and when she moved to Rye on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, she embraced that passion through her incredible underwater photos while free diving. However, it's her work on the land that has inspired a community and has seen her awarded such accolades as the Dame Phyllis Frost Award for her tireless efforts to clean the beach.
So for Rye, in a period of just under 5 years, I've picked up 5.4 tonnes of litter. That's very, very scary if you see how small that litter is. Basically, if I see the litter, I pick it up, which makes leaving the beach very hard sometimes.
Every day, no matter the conditions, Josie heads to the beach and spends at least 2 hours picking up rubbish.
I think people thought I was crazy. They're like, what are you doing? Like, why are you picking it up? That's the Shire's job. And when people would see me, people would run. Like, they'd be like, oh. Or when I try and have the conversation about litter, people were like, eh. You know, I could see that I lost people quickly, and every day as I'm picking up other people's litter, I'm thinking, how can I make a difference? How can I have a conversation? How can I improve the way that I speak about things? And then I thought, why don't I just influence the litter prevention on the land? And that's when I approached Woolworths Rye.
Being part of a tourist area, Woolworths Rye becomes the busiest supermarket in Australia from Boxing Day to New Year's. And so Josie thought it was a great place to start her fight against litter.
The things that we started to look at was to introduce ashtrays, and then on top of that we introduced ground decals. So I drew a seahorse and it says, "All roads lead to the ocean, thank you for caring." And so we placed those in the litter hotspots that we had. This is being collected from the Rye Yacht Club.
The changes brought about made Josie realise she could make a difference on a larger scale. And so she started the Only Butt campaign, where people used their own butts to highlight the amount of litter cigarettes cause.
Cigarette-related litter, so butts, foils and wrappers, make up for 50% of the litter count. We ran the campaign for 5 months, so we went from 6 in 10 Australians using the ground as an ashtray, and in the end we had 2 in 10 was our statistic of littering. So we were able to re-educate a lot of people.
How are you? Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm just coming in to see how you're going with the straw campaign.
Yeah, it's going really well.
Josie's newest campaign is the Peninsula's Last Straw, where she's convinced local cafes to replace their plastic straws with paper ones.
I think people felt like they really wanted to participate, and that was something that they could do. You know, getting a paper straw, there's something a little bit more innocent about that than, say, a plastic straw.
When we hand them their drink, we don't put a straw in it, and half the time they realise that they don't actually need the straw in the end. Like, we just try and do what we can for the environment, and when Josie asks you to do something, you know we're going in the right track. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, good on you.
Have a good one. See you soon.
It's an opportunity for us to remove single-use plastics from our waste stream, which is something I think Victorians and Australians will hear more and more about.
Even with the success that Josie has had with her campaigning, it can be overwhelming when you feel like you're trying to stop the tide.
I try to stay positive, you know. I just hope for that change. But when you see it like this, you just feel sad, you know? Yeah. But is it sad? I see a cigarette.
But Josie is not going to give up.
You know, that perception that we can't make a difference is part of the problem as to why people won't take responsibility for someone else's waste. But if somebody actually understands and doesn't have this mass conscious perception, they can bend down and pick up that piece of litter and faithfully put that in the bin, knowing that they've made a difference for the ocean.
Well, what a champion Josie is.
Yes.
And let's face it, there's no excuse not to dispose of your cigarette butts properly, or any rubbish for that
Why
matter.
do we need a straw? What's wrong?
I
We're not
agree.
toddlers anymore.
I know, put the glass to your mouth. How
Yeah.
hard is that? I can't believe that those tiny little bits of plastic that Josie picks up, which I would step over and not think twice about, but now I realise every tiny little bit matters.
It does indeed. Our war on rubbish has just begun. After the break, Josie Jones joins us on the couch to show us exactly why littering is absolute garbage. Welcome back. Before the break, we looked at just how much of an impact rubbish has on our beaches and our marine life, in particular cigarette butts, as well as meeting a woman who made it her mission in life to clean up the mess. She joins us now. Welcome environmental activist Josie Jones. Hi, Josie.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us on the House of Wellness. Josie, this is a national problem, an international problem probably.
Yeah.
How did you become so passionate about picking up rubbish?
I think I'm probably a byproduct of Keep Australia Beautiful and the litter prevention efforts back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, and then I actually lived in Tahiti in French Polynesia, and I suppose living there, it's a micro environment, so you all of a sudden realise all the decisions that you make in a bigger environment are actually quite amplified. And then I saw a lady bury a nappy on the beach one day, and I saw people sort of, you know, screwing up their noses and that sort of thing. And I thought, you know what, we either do things through ignorance or education, and we just need to have a conversation. So I had a conversation and I saw that I was successful in not making that person feel bad and wrong. And then I just kept going. So
You have inspired me, Josie, but you are also a marine photographer, is that right? And your relationship with the sea is very beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm actually a freelance graphic designer, and in my spare time I free dive and take photos underwater in Port Phillip, so our beautiful Port Phillip Bay. And the marine life there is absolutely diverse. It's gorgeous. I love it. Seahorses are my favourite.
So, Josie, we're talking about what we see in the street. I particularly hate cigarette butts and straws. They really bother me. What are the other main offenders, though?
Well, the main offenders in when you're picking up rubbish from the beach, you'd actually be quite amazed of the things that you actually pick up.
Yeah.
I've got a basket of rubbish here.
Shall we get into it?
Yeah.
Take a little look. Get it out for us.
So how long would it take you to collect this?
So this is one collection. This is an average collection. This is from Dramana, Safety Beach area.
Yeah.
So we're in a litter high spot at the moment because of north winds.
Pour it out?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So how long did it take you to collect all of this?
This would take about 2 hours.
You're kidding me.
So
Coffee cups, plastic drink bottles.
Oh, the stench.
Makeup. There's a thong. Oh, I've been looking for that.
Just, you know what surprises me? Because I thought in Australia we really had smoking under control and probably at the lowest levels in history. But you said in that package before 50% of the problem is around smoking-related products?
Yeah, so 80 to 95% of litter comes via your stormwater, so from your streets. So in that you've got your high litter items, which is cigarette butts. So cigarette butts are plastic. A lot of people think
I don't think people realise that.
No, they don't. So the Victorian Litter Action Alliance did research into smokers, and that's why we did the Only Butt campaign, because we sort of chose a subject that was the biggest litter item. But, you know, I'm quite ambitious and think that, you know, through a little bit of cheekiness that we might be able to inspire people.
Very clever.
Yeah, fully.
So we use the word butt as an entendre, but you can see there clearly that cigarette butts are the #1 item. And then, again, I spoke earlier about that single-use plastics. So if we chose to remove single-use plastics from our waste stream, you can see here that we'd be able to remove quite a lot of this litter.
But as individuals, what can we do, apart from making sure that we put cigarette butts out correctly? Is it the keep cup? What else as an individual?
Well, it's about saying no.
And supporting the brands that are making a conscious effort.
Yes, so recent studies show that Australians are more likely to purchase from businesses that are environmentally conscious.
Great.
And so basically it's making that choice to say no. So when you go and have a coffee, if you don't have a reusable cup, you say no until you get one.
That's great.
It's the same with water, it's the same with everything. So it's just saying no is your first point of call.
Yeah.
What's in here? What are they?
So they're nurdles, and there's actually a big...
Nurdles?
Yeah, so nurdles, it's Nurdles. And so in it you can see there's floating. So oftentimes people, when they talk about rubbish, they say, oh, there must be a big pile of rubbish in Port Phillip Bay, we could go get it. But what people don't realise is that plastic is actually floating. So I say for all the marine creatures, they call it my plastic sky, because when they look up, this is what they're looking at.
And they'd be ingesting that?
So, well, they are. So these are nurdles. So that's prefabricated plastic. So this is coming from industry. So say, for example, you have 935, I think, players in the plastics industry. And when they get in their materials to make, say, a plastic container, what they do is they get nurdles and they're melted down and then turned into items.
Right.
So that's
how
why
do they end up in the sea?
So they end up in the sea because there's not the correct infrastructure within the business to regulate and stop it. So say, for example, if I worked at a plastics fabrication and I spilt a tub of these nurdles, instead of vacuuming them up, I might make the choice of just washing them down the storm water at the business.
This blows my mind. It's really uncomfortable to hear, actually.
Oftentimes people can feel really powerless in those moments, but what I encourage people to do is to actually begin to reduce their use. So stop being reliant on plastics. And two, a lot of time people will beat up plastic, and we can't beat up plastic. It's not plastic's fault, you know. It's like
we can reuse it, you know. So.
And it's like money. If we don't use it properly, then it becomes evil. So plastic isn't bad, but we can definitely value it more and realise that it's fossil fuels, you know. And every time we go and take more fossil fuels to make more items, that's taxing on our environment.
Josie, you're an incredible inspiration on this front, a wealth of knowledge. You've inspired us all, and hopefully the message continues to grow, and more strength to your arm. It's amazing work that you do.
Thank you very, very much.
Josie Jones joining us on the House of Wellness. Still to come, Joe settles up for some equine therapy, but up next, Luke discovers the delicate art of bonsai. That's on the House of Wellness. You're watching the House of Wellness, where today we're looking at all things green, and it doesn't get much bigger and better than National Tree Day.
That's exactly right, Darcy. I mean, we have some pretty big guest names in here. We've had movie stars, Drew Barrymore, singers, athletes. Got our mate Gerald at the health bar, megastar, but this has got to be our biggest one yet. Standing just 20 metres tall and branching out to 17 metres, this 300-year-old river red gum in Bulleen, Victoria, has won the 2019 Victorian Tree of the Year.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. The tree was originally saved by a local resident when the rest of the block was cleared to make way for a service station. And I'm very, very happy that the tree is still standing. Absolutely stunning.
Oh, such a beautiful tree. And since 1996, Planet Ark has been calling on us all to get our hands dirty on National Tree Day. And since then, more than 25 million trees have been planted. And did you know recently there was a study that suggested that if we just plant millions of trees, we can slow climate change?
Really?
It's actually within our power.
Jo, I absolutely love it. It is an amazing effort. And from the biggest tree to the smallest, I discovered this week how even the tiniest things can be great for your mental health.
Bonsai is an art, and Austin Kosasi has studied under the master. He spent years working under the prestigious Kunio Kobayashi in Japan before bringing his skills home to Australia.
Well, when I graduated from my apprenticeship, my master had one request for me, and his request was for me to spread the art of bonsai to as many Australians as I can.
He shares his love of bonsai through workshops and classes, and he's happy to give me the rundown.
So if I've got my little self a little bit of a starter kit and I've got a little bonsai, what are the main things that I'm doing?
So anything that falls outside of the silhouette of where the tree should be, you basically just go in there and just make the cut right there.
Yep.
So at least that way everything is kept really nicely trimmed.
So you're making that shape?
Correct. You can see a lot of the branches here have wires around them. These are basically training wires. So when you actually wire a branch, they become very malleable, and you can actually twist and turn them to point at a certain direction. And as the wires set in, once you remove the wire, the branch should stay in that position. So you basically create and design the direction of the tree through the wires.
Patience is key with bonsai. In fact, many people associate the craft with mindfulness.
To be honest with you, I can just sit down for hours and just work on bonsai. This is the only activity that I can ever do where I can just sit there and just focus on one thing. When I focus on a branch, I just think about that particular branch until it's done before I move to the next one. And occasionally, you know, I have thoughts in my mind of certain things, or my mind would drift away. But then it's just weird how it just brings me back to the tree again. So it's very meditative in a way.
Bonsai is an excellent form of relaxation and really puts things in perspective. Seeing something in miniature definitely makes you appreciate the bigger version.
This is my sanity right here. So I treat it as my hobby. I teach people how to do bonsai as well. And to me, this is something that I look forward to every single year. The tree is going to develop and progress. And I just look forward to doing that just because it's a living work of art for me.
Will you be passing this down to your own children?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a temporary custody of these trees. These are trees that can easily outlive me, so it's something that will be passed on from one generation to the next. I just need to hope that my kids don't kill them.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I think with many of us living in apartments, bonsai is a really great way for us to tend to trees, especially if we don't have much space. What about you guys? Do you guys garden or get into it?
Can't say it's a strong point of mine, Hines, but I love that story. What an inspiration that guy is. Beautiful words around. I love the word, I'm a custodian of this tree to pass it on.
He was so calming too, really calming.
I love the effect of the relaxation. Like, I bugged my husband for months and months to fill our indoor and outdoor space with plants and beautiful pots and plants. And the moment we did, it really became a home. It was so tranquil, so relaxing. And yes, I've got to get out the watering can once a week.
I know. The problem problem with being a custodian is you shouldn't let them die. Exactly. Which is, that happens in my house too with our indoor plants.
Exactly.
I'm not a very good custodian.
Well, Joe, if you haven't already, get out there and give back to nature by planting a tree for National Tree Day. Right now, though, here's Zoe with one of my absolute favourite meals.
If you're looking for a weeknight meal that ticks all the nutritional boxes, then look no further than my roasted salmon and avocado poke bowl with a beautiful miso dressing. I'm going to start with the marinade. In the bowl, I have a little bit of miso paste, which is made from fermented soybeans, mirin, and a little bit of soy. Now, you don't have to drink bone broth to get all of the goodness. You can actually add it into marinade. Bone broth is a beautiful earthy flavour, but what I love about it is its help when it comes to collagen. It helps with connective tissue, it's good for your gut, but the flavour just bursts when you add it to things such as the salmon. Everybody in my household loves salmon, including my cat Ruby. So, great source of good fats, good for our heart, wonderfully filling. Pop it onto my tray and then into the oven for about 20 minutes, or keep your eye on it. While my salmon's roasting, I'll start with the dressing. It's quite simple: tahini, miso and garlic. Tahini is sesame seeds. It's a good source of calcium. It's obviously a seed, so it's full of good fats, and it also has the added advantage of proteins. By this stage, your salmon will be cooked. And what I like to do is get 2 forks and just flake it apart. Next, I simply want to add all my other ingredients into my bowl. So, I'm using brown rice, but you could also use brown rice vermicelli noodles, you could use white rice, or even something like quinoa or freekeh. All of those grains have got B vitamins. I'm just going to add my coleslaw. The colours look absolutely fantastic. Avocado, beautiful form of omega-3 fatty acids. And I'm using wasabi peas. You could add something like edamame beans or even something like roasted cashews. One in the mouth. And then last but not least, we've got our delicious dressing, which you can drizzle on as much or as little as you want.
Welcome back. All of us have felt physical pain at some stage, be it a migraine, a cut, a sore joint, something of that nature. However, 1 in 5 Australians, Joe, suffer from chronic pain that can last for years and affect every aspect of their lives. Here to tell us more, welcome clinical nurse consultant from Chronic Pain Australia, Fiona Hodson. Welcome to the House of Wellness.
Thank you for having me.
Fiona, we all know about pain and what it feels like, but what is chronic pain?
So chronic pain is pain that usually is from an injury or an illness or surgery, and the normal healing time that you would think that it would heal, it prolongs after 3 months, so it goes on and can actually go on for years, 5, 20 years even for some people.
And I do think some people just live permanently with pain. What kind of toll does that take day to day?
The toll, it takes an immense toll. It takes a personal toll and emotional toll. It takes a huge toll on the family as well. A lot of these people are disabled with their pain, so they can't work. So financially, there's a huge toll that takes as well. And also the out-of-pocket expenses that these people have to endure as well with all of their specialist appointments, or they're going to other allied health professionals and so forth. So,
Fiona, you've been conducting the National Pain Week survey. Are you learning any new information out of that?
Yes, we have, and one of the interesting things, or it's disappointing in one way, but is that people feel very stigmatised. Those that have chronic pain feel that they don't feel believed.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when they've gone to their, say, pharmacist or their doctor, they feel that that the doctor or the pharmacist doesn't believe that they have pain, because a lot of people with chronic pain don't look like they're in pain.
Yeah, because so much of it has to come down to compassion and really being able to empathise with someone who's in pain, and that requires me to really make an effort to understand you.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And perhaps not everybody can.
No, and I think empathy was lacking. That was one of the things that came clearly out in the survey, that people didn't feel that there was that empathy for them, that people understood. I know as a clinician, as a nurse, I got involved in this organisation because it is the grassroots, you know, the voice of people experiencing pain, and it's that lived experience. And I think understanding that makes me a much better clinician.
Wow.
So, and I think if other people in the community were aware of that, then maybe that could help as well.
What about people who are living with someone who's got chronic pain, and that's in their house, it's in their relationships, it's in their families? What can they do to support their loved one?
I think getting a better understanding and supporting that person. And one of the things that we also try and encourage people to do is have this open communication with the person who's experiencing pain, so that you also know, look, I'm having a bad day today.
Yeah.
Could you help me with this, or could you help me with that? The problem is because it goes on for such a long period of time, is that people get a bit jaded.
Yeah.
Even family members who love the person dearly. So there is various resources online, which isn't for everybody, but those are available. Some really good pain management resources there. There is also access to some really good public hospital pain management services. What we would like to see is more people being supported in their own communities. So that means upskilling allied health professionals, and when I mean that, I mean physios, psychologists, nurses and GPs, so that they can actually manage those people much better in their own communities.
Fiona, thanks for coming in today. It's an important conversation to have, and offering some advice to people who are suffering chronic pain. We really appreciate it.
Great, thanks for having me.
Over at the health bar, our man Gerald Quigley can be a bit of a pain at time as well. Joe, he's also very capable in this topic over there with Rach. What can you tell us, Gerald?
Thanks, Darcy. Great to have you back. And it's what we've got to remember here, and Fiona's given us lots of great information, but there are some drug-free options available to help with pain.
Yeah, and one of those is a TENS machine, and it's something that women will definitely know as a pain management option during childbirth. I personally did not get to use one. I'm kicking myself. I'm 2 years too late with Dom. But yeah, something that's really popular for women.
So we're talking, Rach, about a transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation system where you get millions of little low voltage impulses into the skin to help with the pain. Take a look.
My name's Pam. I'm 66 years of age. I work a full-time job and I'm quite energetic. I have done a lot of sports over many years. About a year and a half ago, I had soreness in my hip and my leg, so I went to the doctor with it and he said that I had bursitis. I hadn't any idea what that condition was, but it's where the cushioning around the joints, the muscles and tendons becomes very inflamed and sore. I tried lots of things. I had cortisone injections. I was looking for other alternate therapies, I guess, as opposed to medications. I'm not really good at taking tablets, and that is when I used the TENS. I found that that gave me the best results. The TENS machine is very easy to use, so it's a matter of just going through and finding out what works for you. I use it on my thigh and my adductor muscle, which becomes quite sore and inflamed. So to give me immediate relief on those muscles, I use the relieve button. Then it's a matter of just going through the therapies and working out what massage works best for me. Because there are different types of massages, I can use one that's going to suit me, and that feels good. It's got an unusual feel. You don't think it's doing anything. You think, what is happening here? It's pulsating, causing the muscles to jump around or contract. It's not painful, and I know that it's working because it gives me the great results that I need. It just works.
One of the theories, Rach, in how helpful a TENS machine is, we think it works on a gate pathway. So if you whack your hand on that bench, you'll automatically rub it. By rubbing it, you're actually introducing more nerve impulses to block the pain ones, and it helps you feel better. That's probably one of the most important understandings we get with a TENS machine. It also increases circulation, so you're bringing healthy blood into a damaged area, and it also helps the production of what's called endorphins, which are the feel-good chemicals. Now, if you're in pain, you usually don't have many of those things, so you want to increase the production of those. The exciting thing is you can use a TENS machine in combination with medications and any other things that you're using to help control your pain, and it's portable, so you can just pack it up and take it away with you.
So good for travel. And can anyone use them?
Mostly yes, except if you have a pacemaker or you have a cochlear implant, then it's absolute no-no. And you can usually just get some advice from your healthcare practitioner if you're not sure, but usually those two people particularly have to stay away from them.
And where do we find them?
Your local pharmacy will have them, where you normally get your advice on pain, freely available. Always check first, though.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Rach. Thanks, Gerald. From managing pain to managing stress, Joe investigates the healing power of horses. Up next on the House of Wellness. Yes, welcome back to the House of Wellness. I think it's fair to say that all of us on the couch here love animals, and they can be great for your physical and your mental health. Our little staffy Dennis is the #1 seed in our house by far. Outranks, I'm a long way down. But all my 4 kids, the first thing they do, they gravitate to Dennis. It changes your whole life.
They really are so good for our health. I mean, Chia gets me moving and walking. But
what's your lab called?
Chia. Chia. And she also provides that mental support where I call it Chia therapy, where I'm off my device and I go hang with her, and it's really beautiful time.
So powerful.
Beautiful. You're a doggy person.
Yeah, we've got an English Cocker Spaniel, Simba, named after the Lion King, of course.
Very timely.
We did have a black Cocker Spaniel called Bagheera out of the Jungle Book.
Oh, gorgeous.
So, yeah, absolutely love them. They're like our best friends.
Yeah,
how about you, Joe?
Well, we've got little Daisy. She's 6.5 months old lab, and she is my daughter's best friend. She, you know, when you don't have any siblings, you need the companionship of a dog, and that dog knows when Daisy and Willow need to be together.
So
She's
beautiful.
so connected. Animals are incredibly sensitive to people's emotional states, particularly horses. They form amazing bonds and help develop confidence. And as I found out, they are now being used in therapy. I have had lots of experience of therapy in my time, and I love it. And I've done lots of different versions of it. I've never done it with a horse. I don't really dig horses, never really trusted them. I think they turn. So the thought of equine-assisted psychotherapy has me a little worried.
Welcome.
Thanks. But lucky I have Meg here to help me out.
All right, now do you feel okay ducking under?
Yes.
Oh.
You're very concerned about me. To be honest, I can't really believe I'm doing this. Is this it?
This is it. I'm going to leave this bit to you and I'm going to hang back. So the invitation is to meet Raji and Jensen in a way that feels safe and right for you.
Oh, okay.
And see what unfolds.
Okay.
Out of an equine-assisted psychotherapy or personal development session, we're inviting clients to become more like horses. So horses are prey animals. It means that they live in a heightened aware state. So they really sense into the physiology and the feelings and the behaviours of those that they're around.
Hello.
The horses are invited into the session in lots of different ways. So it might be that a client is invited to meet a horse or to meet a herd.
He's very huffy, this one.
And the client might be invited to be with the horse or to touch and holding, which is a really important part of psychotherapy that we are very limited to address in room-based work. So see as you connect with him, if there's a particular way that he seeks you or reaches out to you, he might give you some feedback about what he actually likes. Their bigness and their beauty and their quick movements and their presence actually heightens people's awareness. It serves to wake people up a little bit. So that really supports growth and learning.
Oh, do you like that or not?
As a practitioner, all the practitioners are reading the horse's body language. So we use that information to then inquire into the client's experience of what they're noticing with the horse. If the horse is calm and regulated in their nervous system, that can act as an opportunity for the client's nervous system to start to become regulated.
I do feel very relaxed and calm.
And how do you know that? What's happening in your body that gives you that data? So it's learning how to connect with their bodies and how to really be grounded, present in the here and now, and be living in an aware state.
I think what's nice though is that you have the time and the space here to allow that connection to unfold.
Yeah.
Things move so quickly and you just don't have that opportunity to go, hey, let's sit down and look at each other and sniff each other out.
Yeah.
Let me rub your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, great story. Jo's gone from our four-legged therapy friends to one with two legs. She's over at the health bar with Gerald.
Yes, now, Gerald, equine therapy is really useful for our mental and physical health, but what are some other ways that we can feel better than just okay?
I think we are really heading in the direction of having discussion on stress, Jo. It's just something we live with every day.
Yeah, and we think that it's normal, but it shouldn't be. I'm a big fan of meditation as a way of managing stress, but are there some herbs that we could maybe explore?
The herb of choice is called rhodiola, which is called an adaptogen, Jo. An adaptogen means it helps when you're confronted with stress to balance the effects that normally your body would have. So it adapts you. Now, it's really good. Stress comes in all sorts of forms. A little bit of stress every now and again does you good. You know, meeting the mother-in-law, all these things.
An exam.
And exams, all those things. But then if it becomes chronic, it just wears you down. And that's where rhodiola makes a difference. And you can combine rhodiola with the B group, which are the stress vitamins, essentially. And what they do as a package is they help various aspects of brain function, which might be help you think more clearly, help clear away brain fog, help really essentially the formation of those neurotransmitters that help us function as efficiently and stress-free, within reason, as we can.
So all the Bs, are there other vitamins we need to look out for?
Well, often you'll find the Bs come with vitamin C, which helps their absorption. So it's the rhodiola, the Bs and the C, and that package can be taken really, a lot of people say, oh, look, I don't know if I need it. I think every one of us needs a B group every day. You wake up, you turn on the radio, get in the car, head off to work. Whether you like it or not, you're confronted with things constantly.
Yes.
So having a B regularly, I think, is a good idea. And if you're really under the pump, you can actually add a second one in the afternoon for that, to reduce that post-work, early evening absolute exhaustion that sometimes you feel.
So just to moderate what we're dealing with daily.
You're adapting to the stress.
And now, you would think that eating a balanced diet would give you assistance in this area, but perhaps we need sometimes a little bit of extra
Well, most
help.
of us don't, do we? 95% of us don't get the recommended to take a fruit and veg. There's the B groups. And if you're in that situation, having a B supplement makes sense because you're filling the gaps.
Yeah, in case you're meeting the mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Gerald. I do feel far more relaxed just being next to you,
Thank
of
you.
course. The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Ethical Nutrients, creators of premium quality natural medicines that speak your body's language.
Cuddled my son Andrew. Loves to jump into bed with me for mummy cuddles. No matter where I go in the world, I can always trust an egg. I pop on a serum, a bit of moisturiser and sunblock, and away I go. Mum's roast chook. I've never had a beer. Whinges. 9:30 every night. I am hopeless if I stay up too late. Vitamin D is one of the best things that you can do. Playing polo, because you get to dress up. Woo! I have a good time.
Thanks to Katrina Roundtree. Let us know how she maintains her positive outlook and healthy glow. Never had a beer.
Unbelievable. It's a shame for her.
Now, according to a study, Australians are the earliest to bed in the world. We heard Katrina say 9:30 is her time. The average shut-eye time of 10:45 in Australia. But places like Spain going to bed around about midnight.
I find that quite terrifying because I have to confess to you guys, I go to bed at 8 p.m. because I wake up at 4 a.m. Because
fair.
I do a lot of 6 a.m. flights, I figured on the days that I don't fly, I'm better to maintain that routine. So instead of flying, I go to the gym or do something else like walk chia. But I go to bed at 8 p.m. I know, it's nuts.
Pretty early. Surely doing breakfast radio, you would go to bed.
But you would
around
think
that
so.
time.
But 9:30 would be an ideal sweet spot for me. Get up
Yes.
at 4:30 for radio in the morning. You did breakfast radio for 12 years, Joe.
Yeah, and I would, if I could have, I would have gone to bed at 5 p.m. But I love an early to bed, but I plan to go to bed early, but then all the rubbish that you end up doing, it's always like 10:30, 11. What am I doing still up?
Yeah, plus if you're on technology too late, you feel a lot more stimulated, so it's harder to wind down. I try and put everything back, so dinner goes back a little bit earlier, then I try to get into bed earlier. Dom wakes us up at 6 a.m, so that's a human alarm, so we've got to be up. So.
But, you know, places like Spain, they have siestas in the afternoon, don't they? So they can stay up till midnight.
And
Why can't we all have a siesta in the
And it's
afternoon?
light until sort of 11 p.m. in Spain, sort of in their summertime. What about the kids to bed, Rach? What time do you get?
So both of them go at around between 7 and 7:30, which I find is the sweet spot. And I tell you what, we love them, we love having them, but that bedtime is just heaven.
I think one of the most important things for people to remember is sleep is when we're repairing. So we're not only repairing physically, but we're also repairing mentally.
Yes.
And I think we're living very stressed lives these days. And that sleep, no matter how much you're getting, is so vital. So when you get into bed, switch your phone off, try to get that shut-eye, and the next day you'll have more energy, you'll feel happier, you'll be less stressed. It's amazing.
Totally. In our house, honour the sleep. It's one of our rules. Honour sleep. Don't interrupt the sleep. If someone's sleeping, don't go near them. Don't interrupt them. Don't wake them.
We need to go now because it's nearly Hines' bedtime.
I'm off, guys. See ya. Thanks for the show.
That's it for this week. You can find out more info on anything on today's show on the website. Go to houseofwellness.com.au and don't forget to tune into the House of Wellness radio show every Sunday. And as always, thanks to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you next time.
I've got to go, guys. I'm so tired. I've got my jammies on under here.
Sharing time with friends,